Oh, hey everyone, this is AK Octopi,
Hey, this is Mushroomy.
and joining us is a special guest, one of our good friends, Shinsun Gogi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
He's also in anime, apparently.
Yeah, probably not as much as you guys, but yes,
Oh,
I
I
could,
mean,
yeah.
you know what? He does kind of look like this guy, though.
Yeah, he does look like the guy in the middle of us.
Yeah, you literally had the same haircut and everything.
This would be anime him right now.
Oh my God, the the romantic. I can see it, Ted. Is that what you're like?
Uh, Sure. And actually, I did. I don't know if that. I don't know how much we can talk, but this guy, the instrument he plays, I actually was interested in learning to play that.
Really? When?
I think I don't know. I used to go through one of those like phases. It's like I want to do something. Like I want to try to learn something, and instrument he plays. I thought about doing woodwind. Like it does look interesting.
Mhm.
But uh, what he plays is actually one of the hardest instruments, woodwind instruments to play. So it's like, nah.
Yeah. To give everyone context, this guy plays the oboe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess I should mention that. Yes, this guy plays the oboe. It sounds nice. That's why I was just interested. Anyway, that's off tangent. But anyway, but
Oh,
thanks for
totally.
having but thanks for having that picture. I it's yeah, looks good. I don't know if it really does look like me, but I'll let you guys
You
decide.
know, you had one of two options. You're either the really old white man or you're this guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You told me and I'm like, all right, if I remind you of him, then all right.
Yeah. All right. So today we'll be talking about Nodame Cantabile, and this is an anime I recommended to Musharoni. So actually, let's just talk for a bit. I need to chill out.
Yeah, calm the nerves a little bit, you know?
Calm the nerves. Well, like, but yeah, how's everyone doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been going on lately?
A lot of work. Uh, a lot of testing out new supplements.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the supplements,
Yes.
dude.
I'm
A
Yes,
very
tragedy.
I was on Sunday. I announced that I was really sad because I got similar flavors of the supplements I got of the electrolytes and the amino energy that I got,
Uh-huh.
and I'm glad that you guys were there to console me. Unlike your co-hosts.
Oh yeah, unlike Jess Moonbeam. She was so distraught about her D&D character dying that she forgot the most important thing. That you had
That's right.
two supplements that tasted the same.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Is it was it bad tasting though? Like
It's I mean, it's all right. It tastes okay. It's
uh,
basically like flavorless, not flavorless. I'll take that back. Unsweetened Gatorade.
ew.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't taste like garbage. Speaking of garbage,
Yes.
how are you guys doing?
Okay, Dave. Right. This is a great introduction, Dave. Motherfucker.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Speaking of garbage, this motherfucker. um, I am doing okay. I finally got the podcast up on at least Spotify. You can find us at Heaven Pierces Podcast, and I got us up on YouTube. So the last VOD that we did is finally up there. I'm
Awesome.
just I'm just so hyped for it. I'm like, oh god, it's finally out of the way. But then I have to edit this episode, so I'm not super excited about that either.
Oh man, I can actually advertise it now. Awesome.
Yeah. Uh,
we We appreciate the work that you do, so thank you.
Thanks.
I know. Oh yeah, we have a new overlay. I just wanted to fit the moment. We're doing like a more I guess what do you call this? A josei anime? So I
Yeah,
just
it's a
wanted
josei.
something a little bit more warm toned than the last time. Plus the
Yeah, I
cityscapes are
guess
nice.
I think it fits. Yeah, because Nodame is definitely a warm tone anime.
Mm-hmm. Um all right. Well, I think I'm getting my nerves out of the way. So finally got some now that we got the introductions out of the way, let's jump into it. Dave, would you want to
Yeah.
give a general summary of this anime? You can bullshit as much as you want. You can even say the dumb shit that I said last time. So go for it.
Okay. So basically, Nodame is a show about a music prodigy who's unable to expand his experience uh, because of his fear of traveling. He's stuck learning in a music academy in Japan. He has inner turmoil because he's an excellent pianist, and he actually can play a lot of instruments, but he has a passion he has a passion of conducting. He wants to conduct. I think one of his mentors or his heroes in his life conducts.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have basically a lot of hesitations about that because you know, he should specialize in being a pianist, but he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want that. He has a very uh, if you can sum up his character, he's very arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
He has an attitude of a sharpness. He's basically like this raging mare who is untrainable. Basically, he has the talent, but he doesn't necessarily have the uh, how you say he's not coachable in a way.
Hmm.
So he has to overcome that as well in order to see if he can reach his goals in being a conductor.
Okay. I find that is uh yeah, that's a pretty big part of it. There's also another big part of it, which is the hot mess girl, Noda Megumi.
For at least for the title's sake.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
for the
title.
title's sake, yeah. But
For the main
the whole show
scape
is
of
about
it.
Chiaki and how
Yeah.
much everybody loves this guy, and he's a freaking music
Mm-hmm.
god, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
So tell me, why did you recommend this show to me?
uh well, okay, first of all, it was a very feel good anime, but I think it is on the opposite spectrum of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Something that just like every episode, no matter how much turmoil and everything goes on, it still is a feel good anime. Just because there's always some kind of like slapstick comedy or uh, even the music that's involved. It's all classical music, so it's stuff you hear in like cartoons when you're a kid and stuff. Um, but they really dig deep into it. I think for anyone who is not super interested in classical music or, don't someone who doesn't really think of that genre, uh, it's a very interesting anime to get into because it will open your mind to a lot of things because of the eccentricity of all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I give it that. It's definitely one of my favorite anime. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite
Wow.
anime.
Wow, it's one of your favorites. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate the recommendation.
Mhm.
Uh, I want to go as far as to say that this is my favorite anime that
Oh
I
yeah.
watch. But I do agree that it's very light in a way,
Mm-hmm.
not in a bad way. There isn't a lot of animation. There's a lot of 3D animation like
Mhm.
stuffed into it for good reason, right? I can't imagine like having to spend the time and effort and money to do 2D animations of people playing instruments.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the animation. I thought that was pretty well done. But yeah, there isn't anything over the top like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. This is a straightforward, character driven drama in a way, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
With a lot of themes of music, and yeah, I thought it was a good anime. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it a solid 3 out of 5. Yeah,
That's fair. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
exactly what I gave JoJo. So the revenge. No, just kidding. It's fair. It's totally a fair statement. And
so without spoiling anything,
Yeah.
Ted, why do you enjoy this show? I mean, I'm sure we touched upon a lot of it, but I'm sure this is right up your alley because you do like music, anime, and we'll talk more about that, I guess, later throughout this episode. But yeah, I mean, when we basically brought this up, your ears perked up for sure.
Yeah, so I remember I first heard about it back in high school. I think like I was just looking up like this list of animes from this site. I forgot where, and I saw the name Nodame Canta. I can never pronounce it right.
Cantabile.
Thank you, Cantabile. And I kind of recognized the second word because it's a music term, and I used to play piano and violin, classically trained. So like
Oh.
so that second word kind of stuck out to me. It's like, oh, maybe it's about music. And when I looked it up, it's like, oh, it is about music, and it's about this guy and this girl. She's piano. Well, the picture they gave was him on the violin and she on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, this looks interesting. And then being a classical musician myself, I was I think that's where the huge interest is. And yeah, like Anthony said, like you don't have to be interested in the music aspect of it in order to enjoy it. But me, because I was a classical musician, I appreciated a lot more than like maybe a regular viewer would.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched this back in like high school, and I mean, I'll mention this later, but I enjoyed more of the actual music itself. The comedy too, I did enjoy it. Drama too, I did enjoy it. But then rewatching it recently for this episode, for this little episode of ours,
Mm-hmm.
I actually appreciate it a lot more now that I've gone through life. Like I kind of understand what they were going through. Not saying I went to a music university, but like in terms of like after high school. So the setting takes place. They're in a music university, as Mushinori mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like understand like what does it mean to find what you want to do, and what reality is,
Mm-hmm.
what reality is compared to what you are striving to be. I'll stop there, but like I did enjoy this anime, and just like and I also think this is one of my top favorites.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you guys feel strongly about the show. Because yeah, I'm gonna stop my sentence there.
Well,
so strongly about the show.
Funny thing, if you guys know me, usually I'm pretty easily influenced by manga or anime that I watch. So after rewatching this, I am actually trying to get back into playing violin.
Wow.
I know, right? I don't know. It's so musically inspiring. There's something about it. I remember when I was in high school, I had the cringiest personality.
Oh, then you fit in well in this.
Yeah, right. I would have been like I definitely
place.
would have been one of the more eccentric characters. I probably would have
Absolutely.
been closer to like Nodame, but now I've become you know, I've aged, gotten older, we're postgraduate, and just, you know, I'm I think I'm a lot closer to Chiaki and aggression and being just a little jaded to life. So, you know, look at how far I've come.
So, speaking of that, I mean, how far we come. I think we're gonna end the non-spoiler part of this podcast, so you guys can turn this off.
Okay.
All
So
right,
yeah.
we're gonna turn back on. We're gonna talk about some spoiler stuff.
All right, let's dig into it.
All right, so basically, Chiaki is a music god, and he can play
Uh-huh.
like every instrument ever made.
Kind. Well, not really, but I see what you mean. Yes.
Like everybody loves him. Everybody think that he's like the best musician ever, basically.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, I mean, I the thing about that is like that is true in the show,
Mhm.
but they play it up to laughs for laughs, you know. And I
Mm.
really appreciate that because it's like everybody who meets him is or sees him is like, who's this guy? Who's this schmuck? You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why is his face in front of all these advertisements? This no
Yeah.
name guy. Why is he conducting, right? And then when he actually does it, it's just like, oh my god, why haven't I heard of this guy before?
Yeah.
This guy's amazing. Like basically everybody is like having like this music orgasm in the
I was gonna say,
audience
yes. I
after
was
they
gonna
were like
say.
railing on this guy, and I'm just like I'm happy that they went this direction with how good he is, you know.
Well, one of my favorite moments regarding that is I think it was his first performance with the new orchestra with that old guy. Do you
Mhm.
remember the
Oh, the S
he
orchestra.
was like, yeah,
Oh
like you were
yeah.
saying, he was like, who is this guy? I never heard of it. And then as soon as he hears the oboe concerto, he's like you said, or really he had or he was having an orgasm. It's like, oh.
So that was so good.
Oh man.
I
That's a funny, that's an interesting synopsis or overview of what you gave. So
yeah.
I think that's what I would agree with 99% of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously I'm exaggerating a lot, but
Yeah, yeah.
the reason why I bring it up is because that's like the core structure of this anime.
Right.
And yeah, like I mentioned in the non-spoiler summary, he explained it in the first episode. He can't fly overseas. He can't take a
Yeah.
boat. He's scared to travel. He can't. So he's stuck in Japan, and everybody's like, you need to go overseas so you can hone your skills and be the best ever. You have the potential to be the best ever,
Mhm.
um, but he can't because of his fear. And it got so bad to the point that his lover basically dumped him.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about how he ruined himself in the
Pretty
very
much, yeah.
first episode.
And that basically showed like how vulnerable he was, despite how good of a musician he was. He has this flaw, and they're willing to like amp it up in order to show, hey, this guy, you know, here's this flaw, and now he's stuck in Japan. He's
Mhm.
stuck in this music university. Here's the other wild characters that are enrolled in this university. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, actually, it was quite interesting. With about his fear of flying. Y- It's really interesting. It wasn't really because of that, like that turbulence emergency landing. It was more because he couldn't save that man next to him.
Yeah.
It was really interesting that that was actually the core reason why his fear of flying. If you do you agree with that? It's like
I totally agree with it, and I think that's why he developed the personality traits that he has. He's like uh completely type A,
Mhm.
control freak.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't have control of the situation as a kid he developed these like
Mm.
he developed this like psychology that he needs to have everything like perfect, like a
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He's definitely a perfectionist for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I do like the reason behind that. Um, I just don't like how they got to it. I think how
yeah.
they got to it was like kind of lame, but
Mm.
uh, that's just me. It works. Uh, so yeah.
Now that the first right, like you mentioned, kind of mentioned this in the first episode about his fear of flying. But when you first saw it, did you think so? If you remember, the first memory was the flight attendant saying, everyone please be calm. We're gonna be crash landing, right?
Yeah.
And then the second memory was that pill bottle
Yeah.
like dropping. Now, when you first watch it, Mushroni, when because this is your first time, did you think those two were related to each other?
Yeah, for the most part.
Oh, you
I
did.
mean, I
Okay.
thought they did a good job with trying to show that the there's a little bit more to what's going on, but the watch, at least for me being a first time viewer, it made me think that he had some uh sort of illness and he couldn't take the pills or something like that, and that's probably the reason why he couldn't fly ever again because of how traumatic the turbulence was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when I first watched it, I think I remember when I first watched it, it was yeah, like obviously the first memory is plane about to emergency land, so that makes sense. But the second memory, I didn't think they were related. I thought it was kind of what you said. It was like an illness, but like more for him. That like those were like his pill bottles or something.
Yeah.
And then like like I don't know threw him away or something. So, but I didn't think it would that. But then when they revealed it, and I kind of agree with you, Dave, Mishironi, that the way they revealed it, I kind of agree it was kind of lame. But when that revealed like how those two memories linked each other, I actually was quite surprised. Like I thought I never knew those two were related in a way.
So I didn't mean to talk about the reveals so early in this podcast, but I feel like since we're talking about it, the reason why I thought it was so lame is because they already showed that he did a lot of mental therapy and a lot of hypnosis, and the most basic bitch hypnosis basically fixed him, like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even the dolphin therapy. Like I would have been hyped for that. Like if he was like swimming with
Well,
dolphins and all of a
yeah.
sudden he had like,
Well,
oh, this is the reason why I can't fly or something like that. But no, it's just all right, y'all got hypnotized by a freaking stopwatch and okay, let me revisit my memories and oh, this is really what happened and now I can fly. I was like, what? Really?
well, I guess when it comes to hypnosis, you kind of have to be a little bit more prone to it. Chiaki's someone who
Mm,
just always has his guard up with everything.
right.
But the more he hung out with Nodame, which is just like a hot mess with like no control over her life, she's basically a child or a dog in that matter, where he has to feed her, wash her, do everything, clean her house for her. So he's just become like her dad essentially. But in a lot of ways, she's also like softened him up as a person because of his rigid personality traits. He's whenever like he gets in a situation where he has to deal with other people, he often comes off as like standoffish and
Mm,
kind of hard to approach, especially with his like popularity and everything. And you with Nodame, it's so different. He just he protects himself from catching feelings, but uh, still leaves himself vulnerable enough to, you know, you know, get inspired by her music and stick around with her. So I can see the hypnosis part kind of like working out from that aspect. Um, Shit. Trying to remember what my character analysis of Chiaki was. Oh right, yes. Yeah, and his character is like really weird. He does come off as like the god of music because the man has like perfect pitch of literally every instrument possible, but he's also like a product of like he's basically like a pedigree musician, sorry. And he does a lot of he knows, he's learned everything and has been raised on that kind of lifestyle since he was a kid. I think the one scene that really stuck out was when, I think it was like the second or third episode, when we met Mine and he started playing the violin and he was going and Mine was like, what the fuck, dude, you're good at everything, I don't understand you, like this isn't fair. And I was like, I've been playing the violin since I was 3. I mean, I just like, we just want you to pass this test so you can, you know, get over yourself. Yeah.
So, man, okay. So with the relationship with Nodame, I feel like at first he was like, well, I really appreciate and admire her piano skills. But when they introduced her, it was like the most perfect way. So like the most perfect symbolism of this beautiful pianist playing the most beautiful music, surrounded by garbage and trash.
I know, it's like beauty to the ears, but when the eyes and all the other senses are open, it's just, what is this?
A legit hot mess. And
Yeah.
I really appreciated the fact that he was like, how can you like live with this? You're such a talented musician. I need to clean this. Your room is filthy.
Yeah.
And I think that the dog and owner analogy works. They kind of play it up as well a little bit to kind of make fun of that relationship as well in the first couple of episodes. Because that basically was it. It was Chiaki having to groom and clean and basically bathe her at times and feed her.
Yeah.
And you're right. I do think that that relationship helped soften his ability to be empathetic with other people, and help other people with their issues, not only with music but also their personal lives. But I feel like at first he was so like, I got myself into this mess, and I guess I can help her out because she's such a good musician. I guess I can put up with her bullshit, even though she's basically like a parasite, like waiting for me to cook food for her every single day of my life. To the point where they poke fun of that too, where he's like, I can't cook food for 2 people. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
So we're gonna eat canned food.
Dude, the shit that she makes, if it's not an onigiri, it's so messed up. Like I remember the burnt fish with mayonnaise on top. So
Yeah.
good. Yes. What a beautiful scene. Yeah, and speaking of Nodame, I think earlier when I was in high school, I think I related to her probably the most. And I've also picked up on her like speech patterns. So you know how she says all like the ukya and the all that dumb shit? I was that kid. I was
Really?
that kid in high school. So I think to put it into today's terms, I would have been the uwu kid.
Oh my god.
But you know,
Gabble.
Yeah.
Mukia.
Yeah, and then you just grow out of that sometimes. Sometimes you don't. She obviously didn't. So but yeah, I mean, is there any character that you feel like you relate to in this anime?
I definitely feel like Chiaki right now because holy crap.
Because holy crap.
Because holy crap. You mean right now as we're doing this podcast?
Like right now, like
Shut the
right
fuck
now.
up.
It's just like face palming everybody. Like get away from me right now. No, I mean, Chiaki is the main character,
Mhm.
regardless of the name, the title of the anime.
Yeah.
Just seeing how he has to like put up with a lot of people's garbage and shit was pretty nice. Like, I guess the first character he had outside of Nodame that he had to like deal with was Mine, and I think Mine is like this alpha Ryuji type Yosuke from Persona 4 and 5,
Yeah.
of like this sort of like Genki guy, but also like the butt of all jokes. He's also blonde like Ryuji, but he's he's really lame at times, but he's so over the top that he's kind of cool at times, especially when he starts his relationship or gets into his relationship with the other musician.
Oh yeah. What was her name? Kiora?
Yeah,
Kyoto Miki.
Yeah.
I guess if it wasn't for his lameness of like playing the violin that dumb way, they
Uh-huh.
wouldn't really have a personality within the orchestra, despite Chiaki's feelings about that pose. He was like, all right, I guess we're gonna do it because we probably won't play well, but at least we're gonna stand out,
Yeah, we're gonna stand out. Whatever. We're the special orchestra.
Yeah. S Orchestra, correct.
I just gotta love that name.
I guess talking about DS Orchestra, I guess we could talk about Strussman.
Stresemann.
Stressman.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
I can see it, yeah.
They played his character too much throughout the whole first half of the series. I didn't really care whenever he got on the screen, to be honest. The only time that I liked him was at the end where it paid off. Where both Chiaki and Stressman had like the best performance, and everybody was like oohing and awing over how well they were playing as a teacher and student.
Yeah.
That was the payoff. But everything before that was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I can't believe that they're still playing this up, this pervertedness. This is so cringe. I can't. Yeah, I was like, they have to stop it at some point. And they kept on going and going, bringing people from his work to Japan, trying to like reel him back in. And you think that he went back to Germany or wherever he's supposed to be, and he comes back right after. He's like, I hijacked a plane, I came back, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I thought this guy was done. And to the point where everybody was like, is this guy a fraud? Is this guy his younger brother or something? Like, who's this guy? This guy cannot be D Strice, man.
Yeah. I think what's funny about him and his motivations to come back to Japan. It's hilarious how his motivation was this one woman.
Yeah.
And we know her as two different people. We know her in the restaurant form where she's this like this buff, like thick woman who just likes to eat. She's like a competitive eater at Mine's restaurant. Or she's this like, really nice looking uppity woman.
Very slim.
Very elegant. Also who actually, runs the school.
But I thought that they showed that they're two separate people.
They are two separate people.
Yeah.
But they had the same last name. But so no one really saw them. Yeah, no one really saw the mystery until the very end of the episode, where they show like a 2-second clip of, oh, the mystery of this. Here, they're sisters.
Yeah.
One's an asshole who spends all their money on food. The other one's just running the school by herself.
Mine's dad is cool because he pays for the advertisement for the Chiaki's new orchestra after the S orchestra,
Right.
and basically he's like, he's always there. He's like always there to hype them up.
Yeah, he's the best. I love it
Supportive
when
dad.
people talk shit about the orchestra that Mine's in, and he's just like, I'm gonna fuck up their food so bad.
Yeah.
And then the moment they come back and they're like, oh my god, that was such an amazing performance. He's like making like a giant ice cream sundae, and I'm like,
Yes,
this
yes.
man,
Oh yeah.
this man and his personality.
Oh man, but he loves his son very much.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can definitely see that.
Yeah, I
how much he
definitely
cares.
appreciate the support that he's giving his son.
Oh, dude, you mentioned this is before we started the podcast, but we had some characters that we didn't and I think in the show aren't like the most memorable characters, but to us for some reason became very memorable. So, yeah, you want to take it away, Ted?
Oh, me? Well, I did. You know what? One person that did stand out to me was so he was that German concertmaster. He was, or no, sorry, he is Kyoto's mentor, Kai Dun.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, he stuck out to me. I guess because he's a very famous violinist. So in the manga, in the series, he was the concertmaster of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, which is, I guess, according to the series, like a very, well, I guess I'm sure it is very respectable orchestra in the world, and he was part of that. I guess the way they first introduced him, he was so like Mashroni was mentioning before, like who is this orchestra? Like I don't like who is this no name? And I want to hear their performance first before I have an opinion. But then they played Brahms. So he actually was specific about that. Like I want to hear the Brahms first. So if you guys don't know, Brahms is a composer. So he listens to their performance, and he was so moved by it that he stands up after the end. He goes, "Bravo!" He's the one who starts the applause.
Yeah.
And then just one day, he just appears in one of the orchestra's rehearsal, and then his mentee Kyoto was like, "Oh, sorry, my mentor just wanted to be part of this." And so like he just wanted to stop by, and then interestingly, Chiaki speaks to him in German, and then they have the whole rehearsal in German because
but then he dubbed it in Japanese.
Right. So when if you guys ever watch it, it's like there's like a little subtitle saying, please enjoy, like this is being translated right now into Japanese.
I thought that was a really good touch.
But they're speaking German, which is funny. But then so like just him like appearing like that was interesting. And then afterwards, his conversation with Chiaki, and then you can see how much that guy also hates Dresman, like you, Masharoni. So he only appeared, I think, just that one episode. So I think he definitely is memorable to me. Yeah.
So one of the memorable characters that I know and is for some reason extremely forgettable in this anime is Sakura Saku. She's the girl with the big contrabass who was hella poor. She showed up in like the third episode.
Yes. I was like, I don't know her name, but I know of a person who's basically poor and has to work as a flight attendant, or not a flight attendant, but the traffic control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
worked in
person.
traffic control, yeah. And her mom was like working part-time. They went to her house and apparently she was once hella loaded.
Yeah, she was balling.
Yeah,
She was
she
Yeah.
balling in his
Right.
mansion.
dude,
Right.
she had like I think she had one of the most interesting background stories and we learned like way too much about her and her
Right.
family, that her dad collects violins but he can't play them. And then all of a sudden, after he sells all the violins after with Chiaki's advice, like I guess we'll call it that, um, she's rich again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's rich again because one of the violins was cursed.
yeah. One of the violins was cursed. It was a bad omen, and turn around the dad's business, and they're rich again.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty good.
I was like,
I
why did they show her for this one They gave her so much background, but never want to show her again.
She's not. Yeah, she's not in the new orchestra, right?
She's not in the new orchestra. You barely even see her in like any of the scenes for the special orchestra rehearsal stuff.
yeah,
You
like
get like a clip.
so the two that I remember is so after that whole episode about her, the two I remember with her was one is when Stresemann says, "Oh, I'm done with S orchestra. I'm gonna just go to A," and then people were thinking about disbanding
Oh yeah,
S
yeah.
extra, but then she stepped in. It's like, no, well, this if it wasn't for this orchestra, I wouldn't be able to get my life back together and also be friends with this guy. So that's one I remember. And then the second time was, which I didn't notice at first, but rewatching it now I noticed, was when they were getting together for that the I forgot which concert, but when they were in costume.
Mm-hmm.
So she was basically asking Nodame like, "Oh, what is that you're wearing? Like, like why and stuff like that." That was the second time I remember. But other than that, yeah, she didn't really have. I don't think she ever appeared again. Not that I remember.
Yeah,
At least in terms of at least in terms of dialogue or any speaking. I think she was done after that.
yeah. I mean, like a couple of them did show up again, like the Wind Sisters, the ones who play
Yeah,
like
yes.
Oh
yes.
my
the
gosh.
flute and stuff. Dude, do you remember their karaoke scene? I don't know if you noticed.
Oh my gosh, yes, I remember.
A B
B,
C
C,
D
Oh, yeah.
E F G cup. I was like, oh my god, this is about booze. This is a song about booze.
Right. It's like I remember the first time I'm sitting there, and like obviously with the subtitles like A B C. Okay, they're singing the alphabet.
Uh-huh.
C G cup. I'm like, whoa, what? It's like, what song is this?
It's like the one scene where they really just go straight into the cleavage shot. I was like, oh,
Well,
this
it's funny
is
because not a lot of the anime is lewd or raunchy like a lot of anime recently. But I guess they had to
they sprinkle
flex
it
that
in
muscle,
there. Yeah.
get that thing out of the way, and especially at the end, or
Mhm.
after the orchestra's their performance, it's
Uh-huh.
like they're drinking, they're having fun, and then all of a sudden, like Chaki's like, "Oh my god!" and then all of a sudden, boobs right in the screen, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. I remember. Oh my gosh. Yes, the Woodwind sisters.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have an album and everything.
They have an album, everything. Was there any
forgot-
scenes that you guys really liked?
So before the podcast, we were kind of discussing that a bit. So as a former musician trying to get back into playing now,
Mm-hmm.
so I loved all the actual performances that they did. So if I remember correctly, there was actually, except for the first one, the S orchestra first performance. I'm like, can you not play the violin like that? You are just insulting the way they play. I don't know why. Like, okay, practically, I don't understand. That's how that's even possible. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, but other than that, I like their the one that when they were costume, I think it's called uh Rhapsody in oh shoot, I should
In
remember.
blue, I think.
Yeah, Rhapsody
Yeah.
in Blue. Thank you, Gershwin. That was actually pretty cool. I mean, I would like to see that live
Uh-huh.
in person. I think that would be a cool thing
I
to see in
forgot
person.
what the piano wind instrument they were playing. I forgot.
Pianica.
Pianica.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. Um, so I liked that performance. It was pretty cool. The song itself is pretty cool. I liked it.
Hmm.
And then I think what really got to me, what I really enjoyed was the what Mashwani was saying about the payoff with Stresemann, that performance.
Hmm.
It's that song is I really like that song. So when they were quote unquote premiering it, I enjoyed it, except for his I forgot that writer's name, except for his orgasm. Uh, I really enjoyed that scene. I guess more because of the music, really. So I love listening to classical music, even though I haven't played in a while. Well, no, actually that's an understatement. I haven't played in a really long time, but I still enjoyed listening. So like anything with the anything with actual music performance, I those were like my favorite scenes.
It's funny that you bring that up because I know that the topic is favorite scenes, but I kind of wanted to talk about the music too.
Okay.
I know that is one of our talking points, but since you brought it up, I kind of want to talk about it. So for me, I don't know the difference between a good rendition and bad rendition of these classical music. So, and I confess I'm the type of person who listens to lo-fi a lot. So
Mhm.
like a lot of chopped and screwed music, right?
Yeah.
So the distortedness of music, or I think that's okay on the ears. So when they had these classical music renditions, I was like, I can't tell that this is bad unless the characters themselves thinks it's bad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So if it wasn't for the reactions, I would have been like, oh, this is fine. You know, this is good. I guess this is a really good song. And then the reactions are like, oh, this is awful. What? This is bad. I mean, so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe the manga will be better because, or not be better, but work as well because even though you can't hear the music, you could definitely see the reactions on people's faces of like how people are playing and whatnot. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, all right, maybe if I were to go back to this, maybe I'll read the manga because I can't tell good from bad when it comes to music, you know, unless it's like drastically bad, like the dad who can't play the violin, you know. Um, so yeah, but I did appreciate it. I think it did add to those scenes. I think it did add and amplify the music, the viewing experience. But I could do without it too. So
Mm.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm not saying I'm a professional musician. I definitely am not. Um, but like when you listen to a lot of like any kind of music you listen to, whatever genre you like, and then when you hear someone who's bad at it, you can pick it up. Like you can pick up certain things like oh they missed a beat here or like this part was way too fast to me or something like that. So like
Mhm.
the when I was rewatching this, whenever someone was playing something, I actually try to give full attention to the actual music they played. Cause like just like you, I'm wondering like, okay, like the people who made this anime, like do they actually like take care of what it how it sounds? Especially for like musicians. I wonder like do they hire musicians to consult or how do they go about? But like certain things I picked up like where like the first time you hear Nodame playing, it's like Beethoven's Pathetique or something like that,
Mhm.
right? Um, so for someone who's not musically inclined, they'll think, oh, it's she's playing, and then according to Chiaki, it seems really good. And yes, like it's played well, but someone who actually knows that song, so that song actually is actually at a lower tempo. She's playing way too fast actually for that song.
Yeah.
Sounds right. Sounds about right. That's
So
on brand with her, right?
right. Which obviously, but like you said, that's her. That's where we learn more about her character. Like she just doesn't really look at the music sheet. She just plays as she goes. Then that's where her talent comes in, where she can listen to something and be able to play on the piano instantly. That's where her gift is. And like I've noticed here and there where like maybe when she plays, or when sometimes the S orchestra plays something, like I did pick up some things like, oh yeah, like this is actually where they mess up, or oh that seems off a bit. Like that I kind of picked those up a bit now that I rewatched it. But for
Mhm.
the most part, I'm just like you, to where it's like, okay, he's saying it's bad or they're saying it's bad, so okay, I guess it's bad, but it sounded good to me. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, but I'm sure I don't want to go off tangent, but um, I do think you can still watch it and still appreciate it. But if you are a classical music person like I am, where I like to listen, then like it adds on to it where you can appreciate it more.
Right. It's almost like they did their research. Well, they definitely did their research for this one. So
Well, yes, there's that. I mean, and then of course for in the art sense, it's just like I don't know if you guys noticed, but like for violinists, they're like sometimes they're okay. On a violin, there's a thing called a shoulder rest, right? So as the name implies, you can rest the violin on your shoulders much more comfortably, easily. There's just some scenes in art where the shoulder rest doesn't align well with their shoulders, and that kind of irks me. But it's like, uh, fine, you did the 3D well. I'll let this pass. So, but it's like you can clearly see the violin shoulder rest. It's like way too much in front of them as where it should be.
hmm
It kind of looks like it's floating a bit in a way. I mean, I know I'm not like I know how hard art is, at least for me. Like I can't draw for crap, but like so I mean like I know they did their best to make it as real as possible, which is why actually, even though I kind of don't like the sequels, their art and animation has improved. So if you like the art aspect, I actually would, I guess, recommend those. But maybe I have to rewatch it anyway.
Mm.
But what was I saying? Sorry, I tend to ramble on, and then
No,
yeah,
that's
I'm
totally
just trying.
fine. Uh,
What was I saying? Yeah. Oh, right. But right, they did their research. Like I said, the 3D art I think was really well done, and like drawing like that for 3D, I know how hard that must be to draw the instrument correctly and how to play it correctly. Because I'm sure someone who is like maybe like for the French horn, like maybe most people's like, okay, that's how they play. But I'm sure maybe a French horn would look at this. Either he would say, okay, he did play that correctly, so I'm fine. Or it's like, nope, they did not do their research. That's not how they play. Whatever the case is. But the animation is very good. Like the 3D part,
mhm.
it is pretty good. So I do have to admit that is another feature of this anime that I really enjoy, which is another reason why I like to recommend this series.
I guess when it comes to the music, yeah, like Mashroni said, I'm not super privy to it either. Um, but there are times where they do catch you like off key. At least in the very beginning parts of it, like the tuning parts. Um, I guess when S Orchestra first started and Mine was the concert master.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this is a hot mess, and then you can hear the orchestra start to fall apart, and it's like, oh, I can hear the hot mess that is happening. Everything's so distorted.
Right. Like I said, even if you're not music inclined, like
hmm
I guess maybe there's some like scientific thing with the human mind or whatever. But like when you listen to it, you can definitely tell something doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I'd like to add that there was one scene. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the scene where they're at Chiaki's home. I think it was like the villa,
Yes.
and they were playing. Nodame was playing piano and Chiaki was playing violin. And I think as they were playing, there was another instrument that played as well. I don't remember if it was that scene or a different duet scene, but it almost seemed like there was a percussion playing in the background. And I was like, what the fuck? I feel like I'm only supposed to hear two instruments. They're adding too much feeling to this one.
Was there percussion? I don't remember.
There was definitely either percussion or another instrument that wasn't strings or piano.
Oh, I'm gonna have to re-listen to that part again.
Yeah, it might have been that part or a different duet part, but I was like, this is off. This something's off. You're not sure. Like every other scene has been pretty much like on base, like everything's there,
Yeah.
but for some reason you added this here. So um but if we're gonna go off of if we're gonna return back to the topic of favorite scenes, I think one of my favorite scenes was still at the villa, where
Hmm.
after Nodame and Chiaki leaves, Nodame, everyone's like, "Oh my God, are you gonna be a pianist? Like you're gonna travel the world, right? You have like all these goals." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna be a kindergarten teacher." And everyone's like, "I don't think you'll be a very good kindergarten teacher." If you look at points to the little girl that she's been playing with, she's all like messed up. She's got like cuts and bruises all over her legs. Um and just like, yeah, I don't think you can take care of kids. You'd make
So
everyone very upset.
so I want to bring up. I'm gonna interject and bring up one of my favorite scenes. I have
Uh-huh.
a list, but one of my favorite scenes is after the trope of that little girl's trying to romance Achaki and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
you think it would be a running gag for that arc or that part of the anime, right? But no, it's just like the next scene with Nodame and that little girl together. It's just like Nodame is like big swinging her around the room and stuff like that, and we were like, what the heck? And I thought they were fighting, but it looks like there's like a moment of bliss in the little girl's face,
Yeah.
and then Nodame like launches her and crashes her
Yes,
into
yeah,
like a
yes.
statue or something like that.
Dude, yeah,
Dude,
like
that
head
was
first.
amazing.
Head first.
I thought that was amazing, dude. That was hilarious.
I was like, what the hell is this girl?
She has a very certain charm to Ichiaki and his relatives, I guess.
Yeah, right. was like,
Another scene I liked was before that. Chucky goes in and catches with the family in that room, and then like his cousin, he was like, "Is that your girlfriend outside the window?" And you see a ghost of Nodame just
Oh, yeah.
outside the window, just like looking lifeless, just going past the window. But I did find it interesting, the relationship between Nodame and I should remember her. Yukio. I think that was her name, the little girl.
Uh-huh.
It really interesting. Like I think you mentioned, just how that relationship went from like really cold to each other now to like loving each other, where she doesn't want Nodame to leave.
Uh-huh.
It was quite interesting to see that transition.
Right.
It was. Yeah, she again, she has that charm, that childish charm, I guess, that attracts that family. It's kind of weird.
I think one of the bigger explanation was like that family right now and its current state is very they're all like Chiaki. They're all like type A, very structured. You got to be the best of the best. You got to do everything to be number one. and their grandfather, who was naturally talented too, surrounded himself with music, and music was just like the gateway to just chill out, everyone. Like, just let's have a good time. Let's be calm. Let's be a family. Like, there's no pressures or anything. It's just all about the music in this house. And having that loss, I guess Nodame was like the breath of fresh air to the household. It's the returning.
I just love the fact that they decided to play piano and violin in the middle of the night and woke up the whole entire house.
Yeah, she don't give a fuck.
No, I think that was actually in the morning.
I don't know. Either way, they woke
early,
everybody up, and I was like, if I was living in a house and someone did that, I would like just throw. I don't know, no matter how good they were playing, I wouldn't be awestruck, or I wouldn't be like, "Who's playing this piano? Who's playing this beautiful rendition?" I would be like, "Shut up! I want to be in bed."
Well, that's you coming from someone who classical music is not his thing.
Yeah, I think with that family, and with the passing of their grandfather, it's just like, oh, we're bringing back like an old memory, something we kind of miss in this house.
Right.
I would just not baffled, but I was just like, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, oh my god, we had to get out of bed to see who's actually playing.
I know, but it did break like some very stressful moments for, I know the uncle was just like cussing people out on the phone, and the
that part was funny.
cousin was just like, what the hell's going on?
That part was funny, but like the start of the episode where it was just like, I forgot what happened, but it was probably because Chiaki was like celebrating and he wanted to drink more and more and more, but Nodame was the one who had to take care of him, and they ended up like staying the night at Nodame's place, like underneath the kotatsu, and Nodame was the one who picked up the phone and stuff like that. And basically was like acting like they were in a relationship or something like that, and his uncle was like, "Yo, bring the girl too."
That's right.
Come home and bring the girl.
Come home and bring the girl. Yeah.
What happened to the other girl?
Oh my god, dude. What's his name? Psycho story. Yeah. Freaking, she's the worst.
Yeah, she's the worst.
Worst oh ho ho girl. But at the same time, it makes sense. Like, yeah, she's like the biggest bitch, but everyone talks shit about her, and then you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad at the same time.
I didn't feel bad. I was like, she really deserves it right now.
Yeah, I forgot the girl. It's like, oh, when I was playing Dorabella, I was portraying her. When I saw that, I was like, ooh,
yes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
ooh.
because
like, at first when you saw her, like saw an image of her, she's like, oh, she's like a humble, like country girl. Like that's how she was portrayed, and no, she's actually the biggest bitch.
Yeah, she's actually the biggest bitch that will, hoe herself out.
I was like, yes,
whoever's the best. I'm like,
this is
what
great.
the heck? That's so mean. But at the same time, it's you know what? She was the biggest bitch. She was... Is there any other scenes that you guys remember or find super memorable?
The road tripping scene from Hell was hilarious. I forgot who was driving, but Chiaki was like, "This, I can't believe everybody is like listening to their own music and humming their own music right now. Can you guys at least hum the same music together?" And it reminded me of when people like hum during voice chats, like on Discord and stuff like that. I'm like, can you please not do this right now? Can you at least mute yourself to hum?
Okay,
that's funny. I did enjoy that scene. Another scene I enjoyed was when Chiaki goes flying, trying flying again.
Oh my
god, he's
so
scared. So he's just holding on to his cousin the whole time.
Uh-huh.
It's like, wait, what am I doing here at the airport? And then it's like the realization that like he's about to board a plane, and then he's so scared
Dude,
out of his mind.
I think it was funny because they showed so little of the hypnotization part that we didn't get the full story of what she asked. It was like, this is a little out of character, but it makes sense because it's a serious scene.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
when he actually lands in Hokkaido, he's like, I need to get crab.
Yeah, the whole that scene was perfect actually.
Yeah.
It kind of made the whole thing worth it, the whole hypnotizing thing worth it,
Uh-huh.
because you're right. I was like, why is Nodame being so caring and touching when it's coming to Chiaki's fears and whatnot, and then you
Yeah.
see it unravel as and the scene by scene, it's like Chiaki and his cousin are getting gifts.
Yeah.
Getting souvenirs and buying boxes of crab and having to come back the same day.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, make sure to get me this, and everything else.
I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah.
I was like, this selfish girl. How could she?
I love it. It's totally on brand.
Another one of the scenes I like is when one of the international third placers came and saw the whole like orchestra, and he's like, I need to be the concert master. I'm gonna audition right now.
Yeah.
And then
That was my favorite
and
part.
then Chiaki was like, all right, come in, and he's like taking off his shirt, and he's like,
so this guy just like barges in the dressing room while Chiaki is like trying to undress.
yeah,
And the guy like realizes like he's undressing, and he starts having like the freaking Bishi moment of like all the sparkles and stuff like that.
yeah.
It was like, oh my god.
I know, but he
What
was
did I
so
walk
he was
myself
like
into?
hella aggressive too. He was like, don't stop, keep going. And
Yeah, exactly.
after,
Yeah, it was like, hurry up and take it off already.
yeah.
I
But
thought that was pretty good. pretty
before
good.
that, he was like talking shit about Kiora, and Kiora like walked in. And
Yeah.
after that, she was like, "Oh, let me get the other one. We're gonna cut this guy's head off right now."
Yeah, we need the other one right now.
Masumi-kun.
Chiaki's in danger. Masumi.
I was like, we're gonna end it.
And I guess another part of that scene was when he really put his foot down and was like, "Let me join. I'm only gonna join this orchestra if I'm concert master. And if you guys want to accept me, will be the last performance. I'm gonna join the violin boy band and go from there." Right?
15 strings,
And-
yeah.
And then Mine basically spoke for his girlfriend and was like, "All right, you're the concert master from now on. You got awards and titles and stuff like that. You'll make our orchestra even more legitimate." While she's in the background, she's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, I was like, why would
Did I just
you
get
say
rejected?
that
And then-
in front of me?
And then it was like, "Oh well," Mine was like, "Oh well, you don't need to feel bad for leaving anymore. You can actually go to Germany and get better. And when you come back, you can compete for concert master again. And I won't cheat on you because I'll be so busy." I was like, "Oh my god, this is actually working." And then Chiaki's reaction was like, "Wait, those two are together? What?"
Since when?
Yeah,
I was like, where
when
were
did I miss
you?
this?
That's, oh my god, it was so good.
I did have to comment on that where when he actually played
Mhm.
so obviously someone who doesn't know music, they'll just say, "Oh, it is good," because everyone else is saying good. But I have to say it is actually pretty good to play a violin that quickly, and it did sound pretty good. I guess it should be.
Mhm.
It is very, like, in reality, it is very impressive for someone to play like that with such precision. So the fact that, like, where his talent and his skill comes in, it actually does merit his like why he can say, I should be your concert master, because it is pretty hard to play like that fast and that well.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still quite an interesting character, and nonetheless.
Does he show up more in the OVAs?
So I'm not gonna spoil it much, unless you really don't care. Do you want me to?
I really don't care. I'm not gonna watch it.
Well, I mean, for the listeners who are listening,
I mean, this is a spoiler.
If he's gonna be
podcast.
there, just let us know.
okay, no, he does appear. He does appear in the sequels.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, cool.
But he still maintains that character.
Good,
that
great.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Awesome.
I see.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I maybe I need to rewatch these sequels again, because I didn't like it when I first watched it. But this was like
same.
years
I
ago.
didn't really like it either. The music was still great. The animation got better. The story was a little lackluster, to say the least. I believe for me it was the drastic character change.
Yes, I think that's what it was. The story wasn't that great. And the character change was too much.
Yeah, because you're introduced to like a whole new cast. You're like missing good old, Genki boy Mine and all your friends from home.
Yeah, I mean, some characters in this series, the original series, do appear, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense because he would go abroad, as you can tell by the last episode, that he goes to Paris, according to his family.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it makes sense. Like, there will be new people he will encounter. I don't know. Maybe I might have to rewatch it, but I just remember I didn't like it the first time.
No, I totally agree.
I wonder if those OVAs stem from the manga or something like that. I don't know. I'll probably read it on my own time. Not for the podcast, but we'll see.
Yeah, I tried reading it. This was like a long time ago. I tried reading it, but I was like, no, this is about music. You should listen to music, not read it. Like, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think one of you recommended a manga. What's it called? Like Apollo. It was about jazz in the 1960s with this guy, Sakamichi no Apollo, something like that.
Kids on a Slope.
Kids on the Slope.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I read that. I was like, I actually enjoy it, and I didn't listen to any. I don't know what it sounds like, but I still enjoyed reading it. So maybe I can give the manga for this series another try. More for the story and character rather than the actual music itself.
Yeah, I think some things I heard from other people who have read the manga, they found like the descriptions and the way they describe the instruments and the music and the way everything kind of looks is pretty accurate. So it makes it look like, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to check it out. I think it's totally worth it to check it out. Just because I don't think the anime, they add a lot more like embellishments and stuff. Here it might feel like there's more accuracy to what you're reading, and you can kind of imagine what everything's gonna like sound like, because again, we didn't really know what we were getting like listening to when we were watching the anime. Is more like, oh, okay, they said it's bad, so it's bad. So it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same. There was one character I did want to talk about who is also another forgettable character. Actually, there's two characters. I want to talk about the picture I gave you, Ted. This guy, and I want to.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
This guy, and I want to talk about the guy, the bald guy with the circle glasses, who played the cello.
Oh, you mean the cheater,
yes.
the guy who's like dating the girls
with
with
the same names, dude.
Yeah.
That scene was so good when the reveal came at the end. It was like, oh man, he got like all the accolades. He won the competition. I
Yeah.
was taking pictures of him, and then like girls just appear. Like a girl appears, like, dude. I was like, oh babe. And then the other two girls appears like, you did so good. And he was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It worked out at the end. They all went out drinking together.
it's like, who are you? You're Yoko, aren't you? No, I'm Yoko.
I'm Yoko.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
So
Yeah, you talk about the oboe player, I guess.
was he that forgettable? I don't think he was forgettable.
no, this character is not forgettable. I think
No, he's not forgettable.
He definitely had a lot
He
more scenes in.
Falls in love with Nodame because Nodame was like being basically like a wife to Chiaki
I
and
know.
was like giving him
It's
like
it's
stuff.
funny because she's like, this woman, I think I'm in love. She's gonna be my wife. She's like the essence of femininity. I'm like, no, the fuck,
like, oh
she's
my
not.
It's like Kikuji-kun, what do you see her as? Yeah, she's this lovely woman with this fresh air, and like I forgot the exact words they used, but like this lovely woman. And then Chuck is like, what are you talking about? She's like a crazy monster who just goes out around begging for food and steals your stuff. And then Kikuji was like, who are you talking about?
I don't know who you're talking about.
and then save the Kikuji committee failed. That
Oh yeah.
remember.
Dude, I did feel bad for him though, mostly because he failed his competition test. Second, because he was like, oh, this girl that I'm in love with is in love with someone else.
and someone, and I don't know if you picked it up, but like right, like if you remember, he failed because he didn't have the right read for his.
He soaked his read too long.
Right, and someone, and he was saying, oh, I gotta find another read. Now, someone who is not aware of like how the oboe works or just classical music, they'll just think, what's the big deal? Like, why don't you have a spare one? But I have a friend who used to play, and one thing he said he hated about playing the oboe was actually making reads.
Yeah.
And like to have a really good sound, you have to make your read. Store-bought doesn't cut for it.
Yeah, I think they touched upon that in the anime.
It's the
right
only
before
instrument
that scene.
that has to have a reed made. Like the oboe player has to make it.
Yeah,
Right,
so I was like, I understand why this is such a big deal, because they played it up before. They described it before.
Yeah.
When Nodame was like, oh, you're making your own read, huh? Stuff like that. And then all of a sudden he over soaked it, and he was like very anxious about finding the right one right before he was gonna go on stage. And yeah, that was all she wrote basically.
Right. So I did feel bad for him, but he did make it up when he did his oboe concerto, which it sounded so nice.
Yeah,
it really sounded nice.
Which speaking of the oboe concerto, can you explain this to me? Why is Mozart pink?
Oh right, yeah, I was wondering about that too, because when Nodame was like laughing about the fact that they were gonna do Mozart, she's like, "Oh, Mozart is pink." I'm like, "What? What does that mean?" And then they showed like their first rehearsal. Chiaki felt like the Mozart was blue, and then it became pink after this oboe player fell in love with Nodame.
Yeah.
Right, when all the players were feeling love struck.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's gotta. I kind of understand why. It's like where. So if you listen to a lot of Mozart, like compared to others, you definitely can kind of pick up a Mozart song from the others. So, I mean, except for I don't know too much. And I'm not speaking as an expert or anything. I'm definitely a novice. Yeah. So I'm not quoting any kind of expertise here, but from what I would think, like, okay, take Beethoven for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of his music, it's kind of more like 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 new I guess like more on this like the dark, not darker side, like more it's not definitely not happy.
It's
It's
like
definitely
it's
not.
like dramatic and very
Yeah,
somber.
thank you. I think that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
But like you don't feel Pink from his music per se.
Yeah.
Maybe except for his Ode to Joy. But then for Mozart, most of his songs, it's very more like uppity kind of a kind of
Mm.
feeling. And
Uh-huh.
so I think that's what they're talking about with the Pink, especially with that song that they played, the Oboe Concerto. It definitely is. It definitely sounds very like positive,
There's like
like
a
good,
whimsy to it. Yeah.
kind of, yeah, kind of in a way. And so um yeah, like a lot of Mozart songs are like that. So that's why when Nodame has laughed and said, oh, but Mozart's Pink, I think that's what they're referring
Mm.
to.
Makes sense. I kind of got that vibe.
Like for example, if you recognize this tune, it's like dun 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 dun. If you
Yeah.
probably may heard that. So that's a Mozart song. So like you can tell that's a
Every
little more.
private school has that song.
Sounds about right. So like there's like you can tell from that song it's very like it's definitely not sad. It's definitely not that dramatic, but like you still kind of feel like
Mm.
upbeat about it. And then if you guys know I guess it's called a Turkish march. It's like again, you can tell it's very upbeat in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's, and again, I'm not speaking as an expert. Someone can quote me wrong if someone actually knows the reason why, they call it Pink, but this is just based on what I think.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally. Thanks for clearing that up, Ted. I
Yeah.
appreciate your explanation.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm sure maybe there's an actual history,
Ted,
but
our musical expert.
no,
Yeah.
please don't do that. Don't do that. And
We'll
I'm
egg
gonna
him on later on our outro about music anime, but but yeah, there's a couple more scenes. They're just small scenes that I enjoyed. I did this. I do want to shout out this anime for doing that, for having a lot of small touches, small details that you normally wouldn't really see, but because of how like I don't want to say whimsy or anything like that, but very light because of how light and straightforward his anime is, you
Mhm.
definitely realize these small scenes like the side off, like not necessarily off screen, but the slight humor in these weird scenes.
Yeah.
One of them was when Nodame was giving Chiaki lemons with honeys. But
give him a whole
when
lemon.
when she opens it, it's like whole lemons drenched on with
Yeah.
honey, like bathed in honey basically. And
Yeah.
and
Yes.
I was like dying laughing when I saw it. But then seeing Chiaki's reaction, she's like, "What whole lemon?" Like those small touches really make those scenes
Mhm.
even better. So that's a really good one. During the cost scene when they were trying to like basically determine who's wearing what, right? I think that that poor chick was drawing costumes. So there was
Mhm.
like these Junji Ito-s drawings of
No,
costumes of
so-
like a cigarette or something like that. I was like, dude, that's pretty funny too.
So I did think that was funny too, but it wasn't that poor girl. It was the Nodame's piano major friends.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I guess she's
Oh,
another.
Yeah. I remember.
I guess she's another like kind of forgettable but memorable character.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know who's like memorable but forgettable? Remember in like the first 5 episodes where the girls were like looking out the window and seeing like the weird shit that was happening, like basically showed like the topics of the episode, but basically where it was like, oh, there's Strice Man, or there's Chiaki,
Yeah.
and then there's Nodame like in the background holding Chiaki's belt, basically screaming, "Oh, you left this at my place." You know,
She's,
like
like,
those
snapping
girls
it,
were like
yeah.
the forgettable but memorable characters.
Right. So that's the girl that out of those two, one of them is the one who drew those costumes.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, definitely forgettable, but but memorable too. Yes.
They're
It's
considered
like, hey,
the
what's that?
audience
Out,
members.
what's happening outside? Oh,
You,
it's-
know, yeah. You mentioned that when like the first episode opened with that. It's like
yeah,
and then the second episode opened the same way with
Yep.
for Mine. So I'm wondering, all right, is third episode gonna be the same? There's gonna be some character they're gonna comment on it, but no, never
Yeah.
happened. But I did find that interesting the way they opened.
I mean, that's interesting that you noticed that. I like didn't notice that at all until you just mentioned it, and I was like, wait, that does happen. What the hell?
Oh, and if you didn't notice, so the second episode when they were commenting about Mine,
Mhm.
if you watch it again, you'll notice Nodame sneaking behind them and stealing an onigiri. From I guess from like one of her friends' lunch. So then, if you remember that when Nodame trips over Mine's wire
Yeah.
when he was practicing, she dropped her onigiri.
oh yeah.
That's where
Uh-huh.
she got the onigiri from because she stole it. I guess she stole it from
Wow.
her friend. So if you watch the second episode again in the beginning, you'll notice her sneaking behind them.
Okay, that's wow. I like
I
that
did-
subtle humor.
I didn't notice it at first, but when I rewatched, I was like, wait, is that Nodame sneaking in the background? And I paused and I checked the look like, yep, that's Nodame. It's like, oh, that's where she got that onigiri from.
Yeah,
all the-
I freaking love the small touches of this anime. Another thing that another scene that I like was really small was Mine and that the other dude, the other violinist. They basically became male pals. pals. And
Yeah.
everybody was like, well, who sends mail in this
Oh,
day and age?
yeah.
Why don't you just send an email or a text?
Yeah, they could just text. We have phones.
And he
That was
does
pretty
that
funny.
shit at the end too when Chiaki is leaving for France. He's like, I'll send you letters. I was like, just send me an email.
Just email me. Just email me. Yeah.
This guy's so old school. We love it.
The other scene that I enjoyed was Nodame and the second teacher, Chiaki's like first teacher.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
the university. Their dynamic was freaking hilarious. I think the special part was when the teacher was like, all right, I'll do whatever it takes so I can teach you, so you can be better than what you are.
Yeah, we'll sign
she's
a
like, "All right, well,
contract.
Here's the contract. You have to make a score with me. You have to finish the score."
Mhm.
And at first he was like, "Man, all right, fine. I'll work with you to finish the score." And as they go and do the score, he was like getting really into it. And he was like to the point where he's like touched with tears. He's like, "Oh man, I can't believe we got this done." And then Nodame's like trying to sneak out the room and basically says, "All right, we're done here, right?" And then the teacher's like, "Nope, I didn't forget."
Well, so right. So it's like, all right, teacher, like sensei, thank you. So I do have to comment. It's like the way he got so into it. It's like, but this is where the two bears come in after the
Yes.
bunny is, right? It's like, no. This is where the bear comes in, and the way he got so into it was
Yeah.
pretty funny. But and then afterwards, like, all right, sensei, I'm gonna go do my student teaching, and then stops her. I don't know if you heard, but your thing got pushed back. Actually, I think they don't want you anymore. And then and like here's all the music that you're gonna listen to, you're gonna practice.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Now it's my turn.
Dude.
And if you guys don't know, that voice actor is actually pretty famous. So if you know Gintama, he is Hichikata.
Which one's that one? I haven't watched it
He's
in a while. So
he's the very type A vice commander of the Shinsengumi.
oh, okay.
Well, his voice is very distinguishable if you if you watch a lot of anime. But yes, what his character was interesting. I do remember the first time I watched it, they called him Harisen Sensei.
Yeah,
But, like,
because
I-
the fan.
Right,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I never knew like what Harisen meant, the paper fan.
Uh-huh.
So I never knew the first time, but then when I rewatched it, I think it depends on their subgroup that you listen to. Some subgroups do a good job of like explaining certain things.
Yeah.
So the subgroup mentioned Harisen is a paper fan. I'm like,
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Why they would call him the paper fan teacher or Harisen teacher.
Yeah, gotta
Well,
love
that
those
was
cultural notes.
Gotta love those
right,
cultural puns.
right, right. But now I think about it, it's like no one would ever do it in real life. Smacking someone at a school, you could definitely get fired for that.
Yeah, especially nowadays, or even then when we were
Yeah.
watching it, that was no.
And there was a lot of things that I wasn't okay with this anime that I won't really touch upon on this podcast. But yeah, I mean, I guess one of them. That's one of them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I think that's all of the scenes. Oh, of course, the final embrace between the two main characters
Bruh.
was probably the best
Bruh.
climax.
Right.
Off.
I broke.
Right. It's like it's like hugging and then what are you doing to my daughter?
Yeah, that part was like perfect.
No, yeah,
Just the whole scene was like
on the
cliche.
phone. It was very cliche. She's just like
It was
on the
extremely
phone.
cliche, but it was like especially on brand with the anime, considering like they're on the phone. Like Chiaki was on the phone while in the taxi, and he realized that he drove past her, and he was like, "Yo, we gotta stop." And he still talk on the phone, and all of a sudden Chiaki embraces her from behind, and they had a real touching moment up until the boat sails by with the heart on it in the face, and basically is the dad screaming, "I can't believe you're doing this in public right now. I can't believe you're doing this in front of me right now."
Yeah.
Right. What are you doing in public?
Yeah.
That was I did like what I enjoyed about this anime. It's not a you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not a romance story with music in it. It's a music story with romance.
Oh, that's totally true. Oh, at least for me, I think the music is the
Right.
It's very
So
music centric.
I liked how like their romance between each other, or at least the one-sided romance. It wasn't the main. Actually, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm doubting myself now, but it wasn't like the main point or the main story. It's more about just their music careers.
Yeah.
And
I
then
agree. Yes. It's all about the music, and that's perfectly fine. And I was perfectly okay with it. And I agree. I do like the fact that I wouldn't say that this is a music anime with romance, because there's not a lot of romance in it.
right.
The romance isn't like, oh, this anime should be in a romance genre category. You know what I mean? They play it up to like comedic value. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the romance pays off at the end technically still, but it's not like there's that melodrama that all romance animes has, or that tragedy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just basically these characters have to face the music, pun intended, with their music careers, and Nodame especially had to go through it, and it just so happens that the person who's supporting her fell in love with her for who she is and her talent, and trying to push her to be better than what she is now. So yeah. I mean, and that's the thing I like about this anime, that this romance isn't like this will they or won't they, right? Or there's not like that, those romantic tropes that will ruin an anime. It's like episode 1, Nodame has a one-sided attraction to Chiaki. That's it, and it just plays off of that. You know, it isn't like, oh, what's this feeling, or this relationship, they're getting close, and or she's starting to catch feelings. No, straight up, episode 1, I think this is love. I'm in love with you. I'm basically your wife now. You had to deal with it. And he basically deals with it with the whole series, and that's fine.
So speaking of episode 1, I did write some notes down, which I kind of realized. One, because of alcohol and he got drunk, it eventually led to her falling in love with him, if you think about it.
Yeah.
2, the fact that she didn't know his name, I'm like, but his name is on the door.
Hmm.
Like, couldn't you like? Wouldn't you have recognized that? I wrote that. That was like,
kind of a space
Nah.
case,
Nah.
not her character.
This is a guy who barges in my room and likes my piano and clean up my room and give me food. And he's my neighbor. So yeah, I'm just gonna barge into his door. I'm in love with him. Whatever.
Yeah, he's a prince that someone delivered through Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So
oh, wait, but
Pretty on brand.
another thing I noticed though too, like I kind of think about it, it's like, yes, she's a messy person, but like, and like, wouldn't he kind of have realized, because he realized how bad it was when he was on that balcony and like he noticed like all the garbage.
Yeah.
mhm.
But he's been attending that school for, I guess at the beginning of the series for about 3 years now, or
Yeah.
2 years. Like, wouldn't he have noticed this earlier?
He should have noticed it earlier.
Or maybe he was with his ex-girlfriend or something.
That's
like that.
true.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe he was staying at her place, but like, did he never notice the garbage leaking into his like patio?
Maybe you're right. Maybe he just moved into that. Maybe like at the beginning of the series. Maybe. Okay. But I just found that like rewatching, I'm like, wouldn't he have like kind of noticed something off about his neighbor, like with his piano playing and with her piano playing and stuff? But I don't know. I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but I just made that observation now that I rewatch. I'm like, I thought he would maybe
Yeah,
he would have
those
noticed.
walls must be like super soundproof.
I know, right? And it's for being a music dormitory. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
but-
is it supposed to be specifically music dormitory?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
And the trope of like not knowing your neighbor is all over anime and manga, so I didn't really put two and two together. Where it's like,
Mm.
oh, you lived next to me the whole time, like, and I've
Mhm.
only met you that one moment in school, and we're walking together in the same place. We're neighbors. What? So yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
didn't phase me.
oh, okay. Well, I do notice that more with like high school anime. It's like two friends know each other because they live next to each other, grew up
Sure.
with each other. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not complaining, but I just kind of thought about that. It's like, I wonder if he would have noticed earlier, but I guess that doesn't really matter.
I don't think he noticed anybody because of how up his own ass he was, to be
Yeah.
honest. So yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Sounds about right.
That's true. Like a lot of the people that run into him kind of know him, especially like Masumi, and I think Mine knows a bit about him, just because he's popular with the ladies and in general. But he's yeah, he's so up his ass he doesn't know anyone else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout outs to the two guys in the orchestra who's trying to sabotage Shaki during their celebrations.
Shout out.
Shout outs to them for always messing up. Like somehow someone like sabotages their plans to sabotage Shaki.
Yeah, I know. It's like you
Or
guys failed.
It just makes Shaki more of a lovable person in these drunks' eyes. You know.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we got the perfect song for this douchebag
We got
for him
this,
to sing in
This
karaoke.
anime opening, this in-universe anime.
And then the other guy was like, this is my song. This is my fighting song. I'm singing this song. And he's
I forgot
like,
who sang that song. Was it the oboe player? I forgot.
no,
No,
it was
no.
the other conductor.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh god. No.
But and then he's so tone deaf and he's just so bad at singing. Everyone's agonizing. It's like, make him stop.
It's horrible. So we've reached the 1 hour and 50-minute mark.
Wow.
Do you guys have anything you want to say left over?
This is probably the best music anime I watched. I watched Kids on a Slope and I didn't like it because I wanted it to be focused on music, but it was a lot of melodrama.
Yes,
I
I
like the
would
jazz a lot, but they went a different direction than where I wanted to go. I definitely like this anime better than Your Lie in April. You guys suggested for me to watch Your Lie in April. I think Your Lie in April should have been like an OVA, should have been like 3 episodes long.
It's funny how
The music
fast
was
that one
nice.
went by.
The moments were touching,
Yeah.
but the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star basically. Uh, oh man, it's just cringe. I'm just cringing just thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea, considering I knew exactly where it was gonna go with the tragedy. The other one where I forgot what it's called. It just came out. Kono Oto something. This it translates to this sound. They play a very traditional guitar like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Basically,
Oh.
they sit on the lap and you pluck the strings. I forgot what that's called.
Shamisen.
I think
Shamisen.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I appreciated it. I only read it and watch it for the characters, and they're basically plain Jane generic characters. You got a delinquent. You got like this music prodigy, who has a very dark and tragic past. You have a guy who's trying to save the club. Yeah. And a person who's trying to like sabotage the club secretly, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a generic one of those animes, and it's okay. But yeah, I would say Nodame is probably the best music anime I've watched, all things considered. So yeah, there it goes.
Okay. Ted.
Oh, so glad you like it. As I mentioned previously, it's one of my favorite animes. Probably one of like the not very first, but one of the first few animes that I've seen when I started watching anime. Like I said, as a classical musician, very novice. I mean, I have to add that. I did enjoy the music, but of course the story and the characters I did enjoy. And then watching it a second time now compared to when I was in, I think I watched it in college. Sometime in college or high school. That was the first time I watched. But rewatching it now, I come to appreciate it a lot more, especially about the music. And I definitely recommend this to a lot of people, especially if they like classical music. With the sequels, I watch it if you want, but I would just stop it at this one, the original. So, but highly recommend it as always. Love it, love the story, characters, music, and the humor too. Definitely the comedy.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with Ted on this one. It's definitely one of my favorite anime, and I just like something that's funny, cute, and the music. Learning about every piece of it, being someone who's not familiar with classical music, I I think you get a lot out of it for sure. So for me, totally recommend it. Always recommend it. I think I recommend it to every friend who just starts watching anime. So just because it's an easy one to start with, it's kind of relatable because we're a lot older, and the characters also like are a lot older. So there's drinking involved.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing I failed to mention. Uh, yeah, because they're in college, it's refreshing in a way to not feel the same typical high school drama or melodrama. Yeah, these characters are a lot older. They can drink, they can
Mhm.
smoke. You know,
Yeah, they can chain smoke.
they can chain smoke if they want. They're pretty cool. Like I really appreciated that, and it's definitely a change of pace. You don't see this type of anime. Uh, these anime this anime isn't meant to sell figurines or um you're not gonna cosplay any of these characters really. Maybe Masumi or I guess that's the only person.
Stress man.
Stress Man, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a straightforward, easy to watch anime that I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's if this took place, if the artist who originally wrote the story, if it took place in high school, it definitely would be a lot different. but the fact that it's more, I guess, mature in a
Mhm.
way. It takes place in college rather than high school. Um, it's definitely, you definitely get a different take on student life. There's so many high school animes where the more you watch it, it's kind of like you can actually predict what's going to happen based on how many others you've seen. But this one, it's, you know, like you said, like it's not meant to like make money per se, like with video games and merchandise and stuff. No, it's just you watch it for the story,
Mhm.
for the character development, and I guess for some people for the music. So I definitely agree with you there on that aspect. And yeah, it's not your typical school life story. Definitely not just because it's music, uh like a music school, but even if it wasn't music school, like the drama itself is pretty, it's a different take. So which is another reason why I like to recommend this one, because it's not your typical school story.
Right.
All right. So, is there anything else?
Follow me on Twitch. Follow Mushroomy on Twitch. I play JRPGs. Tomorrow I'll be playing Final Fantasy IV, the DS version, the best version out of all the versions. And yeah, follow me on Twitter for zany memes.
What a shameless plug.
It's okay. This is our plug section. Ted, do you have anything you want to plug?
I try to be internet free, so I don't have anything like that. Although I think I mentioned to you guys I have considered streaming, but I don't know what. And I don't even know if I can even have a consistent schedule, so I would have to think about that.
Stay
But
tuned
Stay
for
tuned
Ted's stream.
for
no, just
twitch.tv
don't,
/Shinsangogi.
Yeah.
no, just don't even put it down. Don't put me down yet.
Follow his OnlyFans website.
Follow his OnlyFans. OnlyFans.com /Shinsangogi.
But I have nothing to plug, so I'm good here.
All right, awesome. You can follow me on AK Octopi. It's AKOCOTPI. On Twitter and Twitch. I usually have a co-host, and we're playing A Plague's Tale: Innocence. It's a cute little rat game. So if you like cute
Yeah.
rats, come join us. It's not a cute rat game, but this is how I always advertise everything to people because
Especially Jess, especially your co-host.
yeah, throw them off guard a little bit.
I can't wait for you to show us your emote.
Oh yeah, right.
It's a running gag where I always ask him about where his emote is.
Emotes to come. One emote. Also, you can find this podcast on Spotify currently, the Heaven Piercers podcast, and on YouTube. Just have to type in the Heaven Piercers podcast. We don't have a link for that one. So, yeah. All right.
We have a YouTube, right, where you can watch the VOD. If you really want to watch us again, you can watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
Well, before you end, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to join this episode, especially since I do really enjoy Nodame. So really appreciate the opportunity to come on and share my thoughts with you guys. So really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Happy to have you, Ted.
Ted, it was great. Yeah, let us know if you ever want to be in a future episode. We'd love to have you again.
Yes, just feel free to let me know what episode, what series you're going to discuss, and let you know if I want to partake or not.
All right.
Yeah, I'm glad you joined. You definitely filled in the hour. We spilled over to like 2 hours.
I know.
And man, I didn't think that would be a long podcast talking about this music anime.
To be honest, I
Um,
thought we were gonna be talking for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I honestly thought so too. Like that's why I was like, oh, we should get Ted in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep dragging this on, but it just goes to show how much content and like there's just so much to dissect and discuss about this series. So it's not that surprising that we took this much time to talk about, and I'm sure there's a lot more we could have discussed. But it just goes to show that the story has depth to it, and there's just more to it than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more than happy to discuss more with you guys, but I know you guys have some sort of time limit that we want to try to meet, and definitely I'm trying not to drag this on, but just
That's fine.
want to make that comment saying there's a lot more to the series than people would think.
That's definitely it definitely blew my expectations for sure. I think our next episode is scheduled for next month. I think we're still gonna do our monthly podcast, so we have some time to watch our whatever series we're gonna watch. We don't really have anything queued at this time, so stay tuned for that. We're scheduling a December 10th
Yes.
podcast, a live podcast. So stay tuned or watch out for that, And we're gonna talk more off stream about what's the future of this podcast, basically. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to find Ted on onlyfans.com/shinsungogi. Have a great night.
Kitsu.
And it's Kitsu. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
See ya. Oh my god.
Nice.
Oh my god. What have we done?
It's amazing. Incredible. A work of automotive art. No way that she can drum.
One shot on the life line.
One top, one below.
Right here. One shot on this one. Right.
No.
Yep.
Where?
You're good, you're good. She's gonna pick up her friend
Oh,
now. She got her.
nice.
Get the race. I gotta see her death firsthand.
Hold on.
Oh.
Full squad's down.
You were
You
inside.
made the right
It's
choice.
like Inception.
One second. We got this.
Yay! Finally.
Oh my god.
Nice.